Anyone is susceptible to burnout. You can be a manager of a company, you can be a pastor of a church, or a volunteer at some organization. It really doesn't matter what role you have, you too can experience burnout. Now, I'm not saying you are going to get burnt out, but you can avoid it. Maybe you're watching right now and you're at that place in your life where you're currently feeling like you're burnt out and you can't go anymore, and you're looking for answers. Maybe you want to have a better understanding of how to manage your employees and look for those signs to prevent your team from experiencing this as well. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment. It really does help the channel. Let's go over some information. Pastors are said to work a median of 50 hours a week according to a research done by Lifeway. CEOs work 62 and a half hours a week according to a research done by Harvard Business. Now, I understand this can fluctuate. Examples, you have pastors who work through the week, they minister on Sunday, they have those emergency calls late at night, and next thing you know, it adds up to well over 50 hours. It's common for people with high positions to work a lot of hours because the job demands it, and next thing you know, it ends up leading to stress, anxiety, and next thing you know, you're burnt out in ministry or being a leader of this organization. I, for one, have experienced it just by working full-time, being married, serving in ministry, traveling. It adds up. Next thing you know, it ends up messing with you mentally and physically. It got to the point where I was tired of serving on Sunday. Next thing you know, I loathe the idea of just showing up. And guess what? It's common, but how do you handle it? I'm a true believer that burnout is mainly caused when you are self-reliant. When you operate on your own strength, you can only last so long. I know what it's like to try to do things all on my own and end up falling short because I did not prioritize what really is truly important. Now, let's go over some tips to help you avoid or even overcome burnout. Understand that majority of burnout can be prevented if you learn how to manage your responsibilities. You can only go so far on your own strength. Things will not magically work out if you do not manage your time correctly and set up your priorities. When you learn to manage your time and you end up prioritizing certain tasks, and most importantly, you learn to disconnect from work or ministry, you are actually learning how to say no when you practice this. But, oh, Ruben, I can't say no to my staff, or I can't ignore the person who is texting me about how loud the speakers are this past service. Understand, yes, it can wait. Not everything needs to be addressed right away. I see pastors all the time on their phone getting blown up during family time, getting blown up during their individual time with their spouse, or managers who can't even stop looking at their phone because they're constantly looking at emails that are coming in and they don't know how to stop working. Learn to identify what really needs to be addressed in emergencies and what can wait until tomorrow, which you'd be surprised is a lot of things. The moment you are able to identify that, you begin to walk with less weight on your shoulders. I can't tell you how many times I've spent up in the night because my mind wouldn't shut off, all because I couldn't stop thinking about what the next task was at my job, or what the next project was that I was working on, how it wasn't completed just yet and it maybe wasn't going to hit deadline, or the new ideas that would get me stirred up because I was so excited to move on to the next thing. I understand you can love what you do, but make sure it doesn't take your life away, that you end up neglecting your family, friends, and most importantly, God. Understand what you need to prioritize. There are certain things that can wait till tomorrow, and there are certain things that need to be addressed right away. Number 2, set up boundaries. How do you do this? By setting your phone aside for the day. The worst thing I did back then was having my work cell on me at all times and having it on my nightstand. Next thing you know, it's going off all throughout the night, constantly getting notifications, constantly lighting up throughout the night, and I couldn't go to sleep because I would prioritize my work and I would have my phone on my nightstand and I would just look at it and be tempted to pick it up and obviously look at, oh, what's coming in, what message is this, who's reaching out to me. Understand that you can do things just by putting your phone away. Too many times I ran on fumes because I tried to please everyone around me. What does that look like? Trying to be the best version at my job, at home, at church, with friends, with family, but not being able to say no, or even the fear of missing out. It's okay to miss out on certain opportunities. It's okay that you won't please everybody in the long run. That's understandable. I see too many churches and organizations as so much of their employees or their volunteers or even their leads at their church organization. And sometimes they never think once, oh, maybe I'm giving this person too much responsibility or too many work tasks. but that thing just never crosses their mind. And that's not fault to the pastor or the manager. It's also a fault to you, the individual who doesn't know how to say no. Understand that you can say no. Did you know that you're able to tell your pastor no? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's okay to tell your pastor no all the time. It's important to serve and lead by example, but too many times you can get caught up in the notion of saying yes all the time, like I did, constantly saying yes to my pastor, saying yes to my manager, saying yes to my wife, saying yes to family, friends, and so forth. That's not healthy in the long run. Yeah, it can be great to have a healthy organization or healthy ministry, but all of that is not important. Yeah, that can be great, but what's going to happen when you have a broken home and broken relationships? Next time your manager expects something of you, it's okay to chat with them and say, hey, I can't complete this job in the allocated time frame. Maybe give me an extra day or two. Or maybe your pastor tells you to lead the next outreach team. Understand that they can be flexible, and so can you. And sometimes you can just tell them, hey, let's compromise, let's work something out, or simply say no if you're burnt out. It took me years to realize this because I was too worried about failing and letting others down around me. My idea of success in Christianity was to serve as much as possible, yet that never led me anywhere. I look back and go, man, maybe I should have said no more times than I did in the past. Maybe I should have said no to that one outreach. Maybe I should have said no to that one service and taken the weekend off. It's okay to say no sometimes. 3, take time off. I know this one may not sit well with others, but sometimes you need to take a day off or two and get your mind off things. I never thought about missing a day of work in the past because I hated the idea of calling in or asking for time off, because I always thought so high of myself and thought, I can't be absent. I need to keep on going. If I'm not there, things aren't going to get done. Learning to stop is healthy. Your boss or pastor should understand that time off is important. If your pastor can't understand you taking a Sunday off, that is probably not the church for you, but that's for another video. Jesus stepped away many times from his disciples and ministry to go into the secret place and spend time with God, and he was gone for multiple hours and days on end. Understand that you too can take some time off or even go on a vacation. Understand that things are going to function without you. You're not the most important person at your organization or your church. Things can continue to run without you. It's not all dependent on you. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, let me pass this on to my coworker. Let me pass this on to the other leader at the church. Things can get done without you. It's okay to take time off. Now, if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to support the channel by giving it a like and leaving a comment. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, support the content, make sure to click the link in the description below, and hope to catch you guys on the next one.